Well, this story I've told you was the basis for what? Saving Private Ryan. That's where it came from. That's where the idea came from. Is Saving Private Ryan a true story? No. But it's based on the philosophy that the military changed their policy after the Sullivan brothers were all killed in World War II. If brothers were killed, they would go and try to get a sibling away and take them out of the war, so a family did not have to go through what the Sullivan family went through. So that was the basis for the movie Saving Private Ryan. And the military did change their philosophy on that after the Sullivan brothers were killed at Guadalcanal. Okay? All right, I don't know where we're at on this sheet that I've got to make a new one for you, but the next subtopic is back in the Central Pacific. Okay, it's okay, don't, we're going to strategy, just pay attention to these IDs on your sheet, because we'll get to it. Back in the Central Pacific. I apologize for that, but to be honest with you, I spend a lot of time making sure that you get good information, so I add things from time to time, and I forgot to update the topic and subtopic sheet when I added this over the summer. But we'll make it work. So back in the Central Pacific. Admiral Nimitz's fleet, what's Admiral Nimitz's philosophy in the three-pronged attack? Lauren, what's Admiral Nimitz doing in the three-pronged attack? What's his role in this? He's the overall commander, right? And he asks his command to move into the Gilbert Islands, and I believe that is on your sheet, yep, to move into the Gilbert Islands. And this is an unbelievable story. So if you look at the three-pronged strategy, the first one was air, land, and naval forces would strike westward at Japanese-held islands in the Central Pacific, right? The Gilbert Islands were some of those islands that the Japanese had gained control of that they were going to try to get back. Now, there was a very important Japanese base at Tarawa, which was part of the Gilbert Islands. So, back in the Central Pacific, Admiral Nimitz orders Allied forces to move on the Gilbert Islands. They want to seize an important Japanese base in the Gilbert Islands at Tarawa. And that's on your ID sheet. Now, I want you to listen to this because I don't think we even have a clue about war. I talked about war in the Pacific. The United States Marine Corps lost 90% of their men in some units capturing this island. 90% of their men were lost capturing Tarawa. After the battle was over, one American soldier that survived was later quoted as saying that survival during the battle for Tarawa was like, quote, walking through a waterfall and not getting wet. That was your chances of survival, according to one American soldier who survived Tarawa. When they asked about the loss of life, he said, to survive the Battle of Tarawa would be like walking through a waterfall and not getting wet. 90% of men in some units were killed. Unbelievable. Now, what's the only other area that the Japanese got control of that would be a threat to the United States that we talked about way early in this lecture? And I asked JC a question about it yesterday. And she told me that was what was some of the strategy was to gain these islands and go where? Go to Hawaii, then go to the Pacific coast, but where else? That was up in Alaska. The Aleutian Islands. Well, once the Japanese were dislodged from the Aleutian Islands and we won the victory at Tarawa, the United States would no longer be threatened. The Pacific coast would be clear. We had to take the Aleutian Islands. We had to take the Gilbert Islands, especially that base at Tarawa. We had to take Guadalcanal, New Guinea, okay? When those were secured, then no longer was the United States coastline threatened. Does that mean the war is over? No, because our goal is to defeat Japan so we don't have to worry about it again. So despite the successes we had in New Guinea, the Solomon Islands, the Gilbert Islands, etc., Guadalcanal, Japanese still had lots of island possessions that we needed to take, which will take us to our next subtopic I want you to prepare for tomorrow, which is on your sheet. The Allies go island hopping in the Pacific. So what are the Allies going to do at this point in the war? They're going to jump from island to island to island that are being controlled by the Japanese and take those islands, preparing themselves for what? An invasion of Japan. So we've accomplished, let's look at our three-pronged attack real quick, like so we're clear on this. Let's look at our three-pronged attack, okay? Did the fleet under American Admiral William F. Halsey drive the Japanese from the Solomons? Yes. As General Douglas MacArthur advanced with troops along the coast of New Guinea and onto the Philippine Islands, half of that he's done. He's gotten New Guinea, but we still have to talk about what? The Philippine Islands. And we will continue our land, air, and naval strike against Japanese-held islands. And the most publicized of those are going to be the islands, including the island of Iwo Jima, which leads to the famous picture of the Marines raising the flag at Mount Suribachi. Okay? So we'll start with the Allies go island hopping in the Pacific. How many people will not be here tomorrow? Okay? We more than likely will continue. So get on the website and get crazy.